Conquer temptation now, bone-chilling truths that will transform your life forever. The night lay heavy over the small town of Willow Creek. A thick fog clung to the streets, twisting around street lamps like a ghost yearning for warmth. At the very heart of this snoozing town, the old Morris mansion towered ominously, its windows dark and empty, like the eyes of a long-lost soul. Whispers floated through the air, stories of curses and secrets buried deep within its walls. Some claimed the mansion was a portal to another realm, where temptations twisted into nightmares. The mere mention of it sent shivers running down spines, made hearts race with dread. Young Ellie was drawn to its eerie allure, despite the chilling warnings from friends. She stood before the rusty gate, her heartbeat echoing in the heavy silence. The iron creaked beneath her touch, as though it too was reluctant to reveal the horrors held inside. What secrets did the mansion guard? What sacrifices had the previous owners made to keep their desires fulfilled? Inside, the air crackled with unspoken tension. Every floorboard groaned as if echoing the cries of past inhabitants. Ellie's flashlight danced across peeling wallpaper and faded photographs, capturing moments frozen in time: a wedding, a party, a family gathered around a holiday feast. In the dim light, the past whispered through the crevices, dragging her deeper into the mansion's tangled history. Shadows twisted and turned, outlines of people lost to time. She could almost hear their laughter mixing with desperate cries. She wandered into the main hall, filled with towering portraits of stern faces. Their eyes seemed to follow her every move. A chill ran down her spine, and she felt a knot tighten in her throat. Suddenly, a crash echoed from the upstairs, smashing the oppressive silence like glass shattering on stone. Her heart pounded as she turned, hesitating only a moment before seeking the source of the noise. Was it the wind, or something far more sinister? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With renewed determination, Ellie ascended the creaking staircase, each step heavy with the weight of 1,000 unfulfilled desires. The darkness engulfed her, the air thick with the pungent odor of mold and decay. She pushed open a door, revealing a room filled with cobwebs and dust, but something glinted in the corner. Heart racing, she stepped closer, the breath caught in her throat. What lay hidden beneath the veil of layers? Could it be the truth? A truth that might change everything she thought she knew? With a shaking hand, she reached out, ready to uncover whatever secret lay waiting. What horrifying discovery awaited her in that forsaken room? As Ellie brushed aside the cobwebs, the glint revealed a tarnished silver locket, lying motionless beneath a layer of dust. It seemed out of place in this forgotten realm, as if it had been waiting for someone to reclaim it. She hesitated, a mix of intrigue and dread washing over her. Could this locket hold the key to the mansion's mysteries? Or was it a trap, waiting to ensnare her very soul? Her fingers trembled as she picked it up, the cool metal sending a jolt through her. The locket popped open with a soft click, revealing a faded photograph of a young couple, their faces locked in smiles that hinted at a happy life. But something felt wrong. The woman's eyes seemed to follow her, penetrating deep into Ellie's spirit. She quickly slammed it shut, her heart racing. Suddenly, another thud echoed from the floor above, an urgency in the sound that sent chills down her spine. It was louder now, almost as if something or someone was trying to break free. Driven by morbid curiosity, Ellie moved toward the door, the locket tucked away in her pocket like a precious secret. As she reached the threshold, she bent to listen, holding her breath. The noise continued, an unsettling rhythm that felt both inviting and threatening. It called to her, a siren song laced with the promise of revelation and danger. What was up there? Was it an illusion crafted by the mansion's twisted history or a very real threat waiting in the shadows? With a deep breath, she climbed another flight of stairs, each step resonating through the stillness. The air grew heavier, palpable with unspoken words and past fears. She pushed open the door to the next level, revealing a wide hallway lined with doors, each one a portal to unknown horrors. The crash had come from the end of the hall, where flickering light struggled against the pervasive darkness. Her instincts screamed for her to turn around, to flee back to the safety of the ground floor. But something tethered her feet, a soul-deep pull. As she walked down the hall, the portraits lining the walls appeared to shift ever so slightly, their expressions contorting into expressions of agony. Ellie felt a wave of nausea wash over her, but she pressed on, fighting the doubt. At last, she reached the door at the end, its frame warped and ancient. With trembling hands, she turned the doorknob, the metal cool and unsettling against her palm. It creaked open, revealing a dimly lit room, suffocating in shadow. Strange symbols adorned the walls, glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. In the center stood a pedestal, upon which sat an assortment of odd trinkets, each more bizarre than the last, but as she stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind her with a force that echoed like thunder. Panic surged within her, her heart thudding against her ribcage like a wild animal. The symbols pulsated, brighter now, and she gasped as she caught sight of a figure emerging from the shadows, a tall, imposing silhouette, cloaked in darkness, its face obscured. "Welcome, Ellie," the figure hissed, the voice curling around her like smoke, seductive, yet laced with malice. "You've come to conquer temptation, but what are you willing to sacrifice?" Ellie felt the weight of the world bearing down on her. The locket in her pocket felt warmer, pulsing with an almost sinister energy. What awaited her beyond the figure? And what price would she have to pay for the truth? The questions consumed her, a storm of uncertainty swirling around. Could she escape before it was too late? Or had she already stepped into a dark fate sealed by her curiosity? The figure loomed larger, shadows twisting ominously around its form. Staring into the darkness that masked its face felt like peering into a void. Ellie's breath caught in her throat when the figure took a step closer, the air growing colder as if drained of hope. "What do you seek?" it asked, each word dripping with an unsettling cadence. "I am just exploring," Ellie stammered, attempting to muster her courage. But the uncertainty twisted in her gut, a heavy weight that threatened to crush her. She clutched the locket tightly, its warmth contrasting sharply with the cold dread enveloping her. The figure laughed softly, a haunting sound that echoed through the chamber. "Exploration? Or are you searching for something deeper? Secrets that can shatter or heal?" The shadows flickered, revealing the edges of its face, sharp, hollow, and vaguely human. "Who are you?" Ellie demanded, her voice stronger than she felt. With a fluid motion, the figure gestured toward the trinkets on the pedestal. "These are lost threads of existence, remnants of lives once lived. Each one tells a story, each one demands a price." One of the trinkets, a delicate, cracked mirror, caught Ellie's attention. The glass seemed to ripple like water under a gentle breeze, and she found herself stepping closer. The closer she got, the more she felt her heart race, a dangerous lure pulling her in. "Take a closer look," the figure coaxed, its voice now sharp, almost electric. "You will see the truth of your own deepest fears or your wildest desires." Ellie's mind spun. The cryptic words weighed heavily in her thoughts. The locket in her pocket pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Was it connected? What truth could it hold, and at what cost? As she leaned over the mirror, it shimmered violently, scenes whirling within like a storm trapped inside a glass prison. She gasped. Images of her life, moments of regret and sorrow, flashed before her eyes. Breaking promises, choices she wished she could change, the pain of loss that haunted her. But then, the images shifted, unveiling dreams she barely dared to voice. A house filled with laughter. A family around the table. Freedom. Which path will you choose? The figure murmured, its voice a melodic seduction that twisted the air. Will you embrace fear, or shall you claim your heart's desire? Panic churned within her. But what do I have to give? The figure stepped closer, its presence swirling the shadows around her. Everything you hold dear. Everything you think you know. Everything you are. The choice loomed ahead, heavy and terrifying. The locket burned against her thigh, almost alive with a fierce energy. Was it truly a key, or a lock? Suddenly, whispers filled the room, a symphony of anguished voices rising and falling like the tide. What will you sacrifice? They chorused, drowning her in desperate echoes. Ellie felt her resolve beginning to waver, the ground beneath her shifting like quicksand. The mirror shimmered again, attracting her gaze. It felt like the universe was watching, waiting for her response. As dread threatened to swallow her whole, the shadows around the figure writhed and twisted, revealing something beneath a flicker of light, a silhouette barely outlined in the darkness, perhaps something that should not be seen. Her heart pounded, a warning bell as she made her decision. Would she find the courage to make a sacrifice? What lay beyond the figure's dreadful proposal? The air crackled with anticipation as she opened her mouth to speak. But just then, the ground trembled, and the room shifted, a violent jolt that sent her tumbling back. She landed hard, breathless, as the voice of the figure echoed, "The moment of choice has come. Can you face what was hidden?" As the shadows swirled, Ellie's vision blurred, and everything slipped away into the vast unknown. The only thing that remained was a question: what had she set into motion? Ellie blinked rapidly, her mind racing as the world around her shifted and twisted. The chamber faded into darkness, the walls melting away like ink in water. With a sudden gasp, she found herself sprawled on a cool stone floor in an entirely different place. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, and an unsettling silence hung in the atmosphere, making her skin crawl. She pushed herself up, her heart pounding louder than before. It seemed the darkness had a life of its own, pulsating as if it breathed along with her. The shadows, alive and restless, danced ominously at her sides. She glanced around, her senses heightened, realizing she was no longer alone. The figure was gone, but traces of its presence lingered like a haunting melody. "Is anyone here?" Ellie's voice trembled, echoing into the void. The silence responded with a chill that snaked down her spine. Then, without warning, shadows coalesced in front of her, forming grotesque shapes that writhed and twisted. Each movement felt like a mockery of her deepest fears. The whispers rose again, overlapping and chaotic, like a cacophony of lost souls crying out for release. "You should have chosen wisely," they hissed, a cruel reminder of the weight of her decision. Fear clawed at her as she stood, trembling. What had she unleashed? The echoes of lost lives brushed against her, a chorus of regret and sorrow, growing louder and more insistent. She staggered backward, her back hitting something solid. The sensation jolted her an object. She turned, her eyes widening as she recognized the ornate locket that had been resting in her pocket. With trembling fingers, she picked it up. It gleamed in the faint light, its surface smooth and warm against her skin. In that moment, the air shifted. The whispers quieted, their intensity diminishing. Ellie squeezed her eyes shut, trying to gather her thoughts. She could not stay here, frozen in place while shadows closed in. Suddenly, she felt a flicker of warmth from the locket. The moment she opened it, the chamber filled with a golden light that surged, expelling the darkness around her. Images swirled within the locket, flashes of a life she longed for, but fear kept her from fully grasping. Family. Love. Hope. She grasped the truth yet again. The locket was a key, but also a lock. It held power, it deserved respect, but wouldn't that power have a price? Her mind raced back to the figure's words. "Everything you hold dear," they echoed, twisting through her like a stubborn vine that wouldn't let go. She had to decide, was she willing to risk everything for what lay beyond her fears? The walls of the chamber began to solidify again, forming dark and twisted images as if showing her what awaited if she chose wrong. She could see her past looming large, mistakes played out like a haunting play, each choice a dagger in her heart. The visions gripped her tighter, exposing raw wounds. The weight was unbearable. Then, a surge of determination coursed through her. She wouldn't let fear dictate her fate. No, she shouted into the shadows. I will choose hope. I will break free. As the words left her lips, the locket pulsed with fierce light, illuminating the room around her. Shadows recoiled as if struck. Ellie stood her ground, feeling the weight of her truth solidify around her, and just as the energy built to a peak, the ground shifted once more, ripping her from the moment. A blinding flash of light enveloped her, consuming everything. Disoriented, she felt herself falling, deeper and deeper into the abyss. As blackness wrapped around her, a new voice emerged from the void, soft yet compelling. Welcome, seeker of truth. Your journey has only just begun. What lay beyond the darkness? What awaited her in this new reality? Ellie gripped the locket tighter, prepared to confront whatever came next. Would she uncover the truth, or would she be lost to the shadows forever? Ellie found herself standing in what looked like a forest shrouded in mist. The trees loomed overhead, their gnarled trunks reaching out like skeletal hands towards the faint sliver of light peeking through the canopy. The air was thick with humidity, and a strange scent like damp earth and decay filled her nostrils. It was both beautiful and terrifying. Where am I? She whispered, though the question hung heavy between her and the shadows. The locket pulsed lightly in her palm, a heartbeat echoing the rhythm of her racing thoughts. She took a step forward, her breath hitching in her throat. The ground was soft beneath her feet, muffling her footsteps as she walked deeper into the abyss of trees. All at once, a chilling gust of wind swept through, rustling the leaves and bringing with it haunting echoes. Whispers flitted past her ears again, darting in and out of comprehension. Face your fears when your future, they were teasing, promising something she desperately needed to hear, yet the more she listened, the more unsettling they became. Suddenly, a figure appeared among the shadows. It was a woman, her features obscured by the mist. Ellie's heart pounded as she instinctively took a step back. Who are you? She stammered, her voice wavering as panic threatened to take control. I am a guide, the woman replied softly, her voice like a cool breeze washing over Ellie. I know your heart, Ellie. You seek answers, but the path you tread is fraught with danger. Danger? Ellie's throat felt tight. What kind of danger? She clenched the locket harder, wondering if it could still protect her in this twisted realm. The woman stepped into the light, barely uncertain, yet compelling. Her eyes shone like twin stars, holding wisdom and sadness within their depths. You must make a choice, she said, looking deep into Ellie's eyes. Each path leads to a different outcome. But beware, take the easy road, and you risk losing everything including your soul. The way she phrased it twisted Ellie's stomach. What do you mean? Losing my soul? The very idea made her shiver. The shadows danced around her in response, anxious echoes clutching at her. Your past haunts you. You think you can choose hope, but can you truly abandon fear? The woman's intense gaze pierced through Ellie's facade, revealing frailty and vulnerability she had buried deep. No. I can't let fear rule me. Ellie protested. The locket suddenly grew warm against her chest, an encouraging pulse she needed. But how can I trust you? Her voice trembled, uncertainty spilling from her. The woman smiled, yet the beauty of her expression only deepened the unease in Ellie's heart. Trust is a fragile thing, like the light you wish to embrace. But remember, the truth has a price. The light you wish to seek can blind you just as the darkness can consume you. Just then, the ground under Ellie's feet trembled violently, splintering branches and shattering the silence. A crack tore into the earth, and a ghastly roar echoed through the forest. Ellie stumbled back, her heart hammering. Run! The woman yelled, urgency lacing her words. But where to? The choice weighed heavy on Ellie. Would flight lead her to safety or deeper into the abyss? The locket brightened again, but the light felt dim against the growing threat of darkness. Caught in a whirlwind of desperation, Ellie mustered her courage, her instincts kicking in. As the shadows clawed closer, she couldn't ignore the truth anymore. She had to decide: face the truth or succumb to her fears. Time felt suspended as she locked eyes with the woman, the weight of their fates hanging in the air between them. The echoes roared, drowning out reason. With her heart pounding, she charged forward, unwilling to let fear dictate her path. "I will not be lost," she shouted into the unknown. But as she raced into the forest, a chilling laugh echoed just behind her, sending shivers down her spine. "Run, Ellie, but do you know what lies ahead?" The mist thickened as she ran, branches whipping at her face. She could feel the darkness swelling around her, but could she outrun it? Would she find the truth she sought, or was it all just a mirage? With every frantic step, she could only hope as the echoes intertwined with her thoughts, blending reality with nightmares. In the distance, her heart raced louder than ever. What terrible secret awaited her on this treacherous road? Ellie dashed through the dense underbrush, her pulse echoing in her ears as fear gripped her like a vice. Each step felt heavier as the chilling laughter echoed behind her, taunting her with the promise of doom. What was that sound? Had the shadows taken form? She refused to look back. Refused to let the darkness swallow her. "Focus!" she hissed at herself, pushing deeper into the forest where the mist clung like a shroud. The air was thick, and her breaths came in quick, desperate gasps. The tree limbs reached out, snagging at her clothes like greedy fingers trying to pull her back. No, she had to keep moving. That as she tore through the undergrowth, Ellie stumbled upon a clearing bathed in an eerie glow. What lay ahead was still a muddled haze, but the light beckoned her like a lighthouse against a storm. She made her way toward it cautiously, guided by an instinct she could no longer ignore. Once inside the clearing, Ellie stopped short, heart racing. In the center was a stone altar, ancient and strangely inviting, with fresh flowers, red roses blooming amongst the vines like blood on a battlefield. Was this a trap? She darted her eyes around, searching for the woman, looking for signs of danger. "Ellie," the voice drifted through the mist, soft yet insistent. "Come closer. Your destiny awaits." The warmth from the locket pulsed steadily against her chest, urging her forward. With trembling hands, she approached the altar, the forgotten memories of her past bubbling to the surface, clashing against her desire for the future. "Face your fears, win your future," the whispers returned, echoing like a haunting chorus that clawed at her mind. As she neared, the flowers seemed to shimmer, vibrant and alive. Kneeling, Ellie reached out and touched the roses, and immediately, visions flooded her thoughts: the pain she had endured, the faces of loved ones lost, the mistakes etched into her soul. "Let them go," a voice whispered, just behind her. She whipped around, meeting the shadow of the woman who had guided her. "To conquer your darkness, you must confront the truth within." "What truth?" Ellie shook her head, the weight of betrayal and loss threatening to crush her. "I can't face it. I'm terrified of what I might find." "Courage, Ellie." The woman's gaze softened as she stepped closer. "Every choice shapes your future. Fear holds power over those who don't confront it. What do you truly seek?" Ellie swallowed hard, the lump in her throat choking off her words. "I want to be free from the shadows of my past." The woman nodded, her expression more intense. "Then embrace it. Accept what has happened, and it will lose its power. But beware, choosing ignorance will cost you greatly." Torn between desire and fear, Ellie felt herself slipping. "What if I'm not strong enough?" The woman's smile was both comforting and chilling. "Strength is born from struggle. Only by grappling with your inner demons can you gain the light you seek." Suddenly, the wind picked up violently, howling through the clearing as darkness crashed against the edges of her vision. The whispers escalated, frenzied and frenetic. "Face what haunts you. Only then can you move forward." Ellie stumbled back. She was losing her grip. The scattered memories threatened to overpower her, images of sorrow, guilt, anger colliding, overwhelming her senses. Heart racing, she struggled against the tide of emotions sweeping through her. "Enough!" she roared, tears brimming in her eyes. "I have faced enough. I refuse to let fear control me. The ground shook, and the altar illuminated, forcing the shadows to retreat. But as the light brightened, dark figures began to form, twisted and grotesque. Ellie gasped, frozen in place. They were the shadows of her past, every regret, every mistake embodied, advancing towards her with malevolence. Face them, Ellie. The woman urged, her voice straining against the din of darkness. You have the power to transform your fears. With a deep breath, Ellie nodded firmly. She stepped toward the advancing darkness, locket glowing fiercely as if sharing her resolve. This ends now. But before she could confront the horrors, a blinding light erupted from the altar, engulfing everything in its radiance. Ellie shielded her eyes, heart hammering uncontrollably. When she lowered her hands, she found herself back at the edge of the misty forest, the shadows gone, yet a heavy truth lay waiting on her shoulders. What had she unleashed? As the mist swirled around her, Ellie stared into the uncertainty ahead. What's next? She breathed, anxiety tightening her chest. And then, out of the gloom, a singular figure approached, more menacing than before. She could hear the rumble of its voice, deep and resonating, a chilling whisper that promised to shatter everything she thought she knew. Did you really think it would be that easy, Ellie? Ellie felt a cold shiver run down her spine at the sound of that voice. It clawed at her insides, drawing out remnants of long-buried dread. The figure emerged into view, its features obscured by the thick mist, but she could sense its malice, a force that tightened her throat and made her stomach twist. What do you want? She demanded, her voice barely above a whisper, trembling with a mix of fear and defiance. A low chuckle filled the air, making the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. Want? I want you to see, Ellie. To understand what you're truly capable of. The figure stepped closer, and Ellie caught a glimpse of its face, a twisted parody of someone she knew, someone she loved. Her heart raced, memory painting a richness of loss that felt stifling. No. She gasped, shaking her head. Stay back. But the figure did not retreat. Instead, it surged forward, and Ellie stumbled back, instinct kicking in. Her breath came faster, panic flooding every corner of her mind. What is this? She demanded, feeling trapped under a gaze that bore into her very soul. What do you want from me? That's what I'm here to show you, it purred, a voice smooth as silk, yet dripping with venom. These shadows you carry, they're part of you. To gain freedom, you must first embrace them. I don't want this. She pleaded, desperately trying to back away, feeling the barrier of the unseen dread pressing harder against her chest. Want? It echoed, amusement lacing its tone. You pretend you don't, yet deep inside, you crave the truth hidden beneath the surface. I'm here to help you find it. In that dark moment, snapshots of her past reflected in the mist, painful memories that seeped into her heart and tightened its grip like chains. Her mind swirled with guilt, childhood tragedies, dreams deferred. Each shadow seemed to guffaw, mocking her then, mocking her now. Look around, Ellie, it said softly, tauntingly. Every regret, every mistake, they've come to play. Who do you think would answer a call like yours? Ellie clenched her fists, anger flaring uncontrollably as she fought against the psychological tide. You're not real. You're just a figment of my fears. The figure chuckled again, and its form shifted, dark tendrils swirling with rage. Real? Oh, I'm very real, Ellie. Just as real as the pain you refuse to acknowledge. You see, truth can be a friend or an enemy, that's your choice. She felt a rush of despair surge through her, but buried beneath it was a flicker of determination. I want to let you control me. With renewed resolve, Ellie pressed forward, locket pulsating fiercely against her chest. If I have to face you to be free, then let us get this over with. Show me what you've got. The mist deepened, swirling ominously as the figure recoiled slightly, surprise rippling through its sinister presence. Welcome to the struggle, Ellie. The laughter rippled through the air, sharper now, tinged with a threat, just as the darkness seemed poised to consume her, Ellie clenched her eyes shut, rallying her courage. I accept my past. All of it. In that moment, the world around her lit up. An explosion of brilliant light erupted, diminishing the dark figure as its laughter turned to howls of anguish. But in the midst of the brightness, a sinking sensation clawed at her mind. The light was overwhelming, seizing control of her senses. Face it, Ellie. Echoed the familiar voice she could no longer distinguish, as whispers filled the air again, urging her to stand firm. Embrace your truth. Rebirth will come through acceptance. Just as she fought to hold on to that surge of positivity, a shadow lurked at the edge of her vision, a whisper of doubt that could easily spiral out of control. But nothing prepared her for what happened next. As the light began to fade, a new reality materialized before her. The shadows were not entirely gone. They surged toward her, coalescing into something new, something deeper than before. Ellie took a step back, heart racing as the air thickened with tension. The figure had transformed into something even more terrifying, holding power she had not been prepared for. Did you really think the battle was that simple, Ellie? Fear seized her, her body frozen in place. Now you're really in for it, it hissed as it prepared to unleash a torrent of dread upon her. As the figure lunged forward, Ellie braced herself for the oncoming storm. Was she truly ready to confront everything? In that moment, she had only one question left. Would she survive the truth? The shadows surged toward her like a tidal wave, and Ellie felt a raw, primal fear seep into her bones. Time slowed as that horrifying figure lunged, twisted features grinning wickedly, ready to consume her. The air crackled, thick with anticipation, and for a brief moment, Ellie stood teetering on the fine line between freedom and annihilation. Embrace it. The shadows whispered, a cacophony of taunts that seemed to echo from every corner of her mind. You can't escape me, Ellie. With her heart pounding like a war drum, she screamed out, I will not be your prisoner. The locket around her neck pulsed fiercely, sending shards of light piercing through the encroaching darkness. She felt its warmth flooding her body, igniting hope amidst despair. Hope is a lie. The figure snarled, narrowing its eyes. You think light can save you? You hide from the truth, but I hold it all. Ellie felt the temptation of despair tugging at her, a powerful draw to just give up, to let the dark figure engulf her. But somewhere deep within, a voice fought to break free. This was her fight. Every painful memory and regret, whether tragic or mundane, had brought her here, and she wasn't willing to let them defeat her now. Show me then. She shouted defiantly, the words spilling from her lips like a challenge. Show me the truth you claim to hold. For a heartbeat, everything hung in stillness. The figure paused, its grin slipping. You dare ask for the truth? Very well. The shadows rippled violently, twisting and reshaping into flickers of her past. Memories burst forth like capricious flames, each one more vivid than the last. A childhood friend, laughter turning to screams, the echo of a mother's rejection, the moments where Ellie felt utterly alone beneath the weight of her past failures. Each one smacked her in the chest, almost knocking the wind from her lungs, and then, through the tumult, she saw something unexpected. A small flicker of light weaving through the memories, illuminating the corners of her heart. It was the joy from unexpected moments, simple laughter shared, a kind word from a stranger, love that, despite everything, had persisted. No. The figure spat, its face contorting in rage. You can't choose to remember happiness. It doesn't belong to you. But Ellie felt something shift within her, a tectonic plate of self-revelation cracking open. No, it does. I refuse to deny what is true. And suddenly, the light burst forth, unstoppable and blinding. The locket at her chest radiated warmth that seeped into the very foundations of her being. She embraced every fragment of her life, the trauma and the joy, transforming the shadows into a dance of colors that wove around her like a protective cloak. The figure shrieked, the sound sharp as glass. What have you done? I've accepted myself. She cried, every word stronger than the last. You are not my master. With a final cry of defiance, Ellie pressed her hands forward, channeling the light-filled courage exploding from her heart, and thrust it into the shadowy figure. The darkness writhed, faltering in the brilliant glow. Yet, just as she believed victory was within her grasp, a laughter rolled through the air, a deep, resonating echo that left her chilled. Don't get too comfortable, Ellie. Though you've pushed me back, this battle is far from over. There are deeper shadows still waiting, lurking just beyond your reach. In that moment, doubt twisted in her heart. What if the darkness was not entirely defeated? As the laughter faded, the remnants of darkness dissolved into the corners of her mind. But she knew it was not truly gone. It lingered, whispering to her like a half-remembered nightmare. What more lay in wait, hidden from view? With a determined but shaky breath, Ellie prepared herself. The war within had only just begun, would she summon the strength to keep fighting when the true depth of her fears was finally revealed? The warmth from the locket coursed through Ellie, a steadfast flame against the dripping shadows that seeped into the edges of her vision. But that chilling afterglow of laughter pounded in her ears, swelling with malice. What else had that darkness hidden? The world around her shimmered and pulsated with duality. The light she embraced flickered defiantly while the shadows scuttled like spiders across the walls of her mind. Uncertainty clawed at her chest. She wasn't just fighting against a single figure anymore, she was battling a legion of her own fears and failures, lurking just out of sight. With clenched fists, she took a step forward. I'm not afraid. Ellie shouted, her voice rising above the silent echoes of her doubt. But as the words left her lips, she couldn't help feeling the tremor of uncertainty. Are you sure about that, Ellie? A disembodied voice whispered, silky smooth and laced with the remnants of her worst memories. You've faced only the surface. Deeper shadows are ready to ensnare you. She swallowed hard, the lump in her throat a harsh reminder of the pain she had tried to escape. The specters of her past clawed for her attention, the regret of unfulfilled dreams, the stillness after arguments with her mother, that split second of betrayal from a best friend. Vivid and tangible, each moment loomed, threatening to devour her whole. Suddenly, another light flickered at the periphery of her vision, more fervent and bright than before. A figure materialized, but this was no hideous specter. It was a memory, a sensation, her younger self, eyes wide with pure curiosity and laughter that held no shadows. Don't listen. They're wrong. We are more than our past. Her younger self implored. Tears stung Ellie's eyes. She thought back to the moments that shaped her, the people who had held her hand through it all. You're right, she gasped. I am not broken. I am whole. The depths of her heart ignited a burgeoning energy, pushing forward into the darkness that threatened to encircle her. The shadows swirled and hissed, furious to see light within its domain. You're just a child playing dress-up. The vile tone crooned, but Ellie felt the anchors of childhood courage bolstering her resolve. No. I am a woman forged through fire. I choose to fight. Ellie roared, as the locket flared brighter than the sun, illuminating the expansive chasm filled with creeping dread. The brilliance spread like a rippling wave, washing over her shadowy counterparts, who writhed and contorted, trying to shield themselves from the onslaught. Yet, just when she felt she might seize freedom, the laughter returned, more taunting, more potent. How naive. Do you really think this little light can vanquish me? What if I told you the truth is so much darker than you can imagine? The air chilled, and Ellie's breath hitched as waves of memories washed ashore once more, weighty and suffocating. The shadows morphed into horrendous visages of failure, the faces of those she lost, and even her own indecision echoing back at her. Panic surged, a swelling tide of despair that doused her confidence like a tempest. No, she whispered. I won't succumb. Not now. Desperation clawed at her, but Ellie steadied herself. In her heart, she felt the warmth of her locket pushing her to fight back. Perhaps the truth did lie deep within her. Would she dare to confront it head-on? Before she could gather her thoughts, the shadows surged again with a vicious hunger. Face the darkest truths you avoid, it's your only chance. They seethed, their claws reaching for her, her heart raced as she balanced on the edge of knowledge what lies ahead could reshape her reality forever. Would she embrace the shadows or allow the light to guide her? As she stood at the precipice, one truth echoed through her like an alarm bell: was she truly ready to face the depth of her darkest fears? What would that truth reveal? The forest vibrated with energy as Ellie braced herself against the whirlwind of shadows. The air crackled, threatening yet alive with possibility. She stepped forward, guided by that warm pulse from the locket, aching for the moment she'd finally confront the darkest corners of her heart. "Show me," she demanded, voice steady despite the tempest brewing within her. "Show me what you are." The shadows writhed, swirling and pulling back to reveal flickers of her past, each one sharp and cutting. There were echoes of familiar laughter and whispers of betrayal, faces she cherished and hearts she had broken, all entwined like vines around her spirit. "Face them, Ellie. Face your truth." They taunted, the shadows twisting, distorting into horrific shapes. "You can't escape. You're still the scared little girl who ran from the monsters beneath her bed." Each syllable felt like a stab, and her breath hitched almost painfully. "No," she shook her head fiercely. "I am not her anymore." Gripping the locket tighter, she drew a deep breath and faced the swarm. The memories began to crystallize before her eyes. Each shadow flared into a scene, each shadow grew heavier, haunting echoes of moments she thought she had buried. There it was, the shadow of her father, a figure shrouded in anger, disappointment flickering in the depths of his gaze. "You'll never be enough," he sneered, the voice carrying a weight of sorrow and fear that wrapped around her chest. In another heartbeat, she caught sight of her mother, tears glistening with unsaid words, words that could mend or shatter. "You left me," the apparition whispered, remorse lacing its melody. "You abandoned me in my darkest hour." The shadows churned, weaving the nightmares into a tapestry that threatened to engulf her. Fear gripped Ellie's heart, squeezing it tighter. But in that moment, something shifted within her. "If you want me to face the truth, then I will embrace it," she shouted, forging through the despair. The shadows recoiled, twisting as her voice rang through the forest. "I regret my choices. I regret the pain I've caused, but I will not hide from them anymore." As she spoke, the locket surged with warmth, flooding her with light. She felt the memories shift, transforming from shackles into lessons, pain bending into strength. The laughter of distant friends warmed the air. The love of family that didn't end in hurt washed through her like a stream, pulling her into the light, into a reality that shimmered with opportunity and healing. Finally the shadows hissed, their voices trembling, "You are aware of your truth." They writhed, growing fainter against her fiery resolve. "But can you truly spare those you love from your darkness?" Ellie took a step forward, a leap of faith. "I will not bear them alone." Crucial truths can create echoes of darkness, like ripples in a pond, the murmurs continued. "Are you willing to risk it all for trust?" More memories unfurled, moments of laughter and love, shadowed by regrets that felt like deep cuts. Could she pull them from the depths of darkness without losing their spirit? She felt the answer blooming within her. Unconditional love and strength formed a shield around her heart. "I can heal," she shouted, every word charged with conviction. "I won't let regret define me." The shadows screamed, swirling like a hurricane around her. "Then let it be known." With a flick of her wrist, she brought forth the locket with determination. "Every memory deserves light." In a flash, the shadows recoiled, swirling upwards until they spiraled into nothingness. "No," they screamed, their cries distorted by the pulse of the locket. As the remnants of darkness faded away, a new light blossomed, a warm radiance that spread through the trees, illuminating everything in its wake. Peace enveloped her, washing over the remnants of fear like a tide sweeping away sandcastles. With a deep breath, Ellie stood taller. She could feel the weight of her past lessening, lighter and more distant, transforming into a part of the whole of herself. "I will keep moving forward," she whispered, believing it with every fiber of her being. "Oh, Ellie," a voice echoed softly, and she turned to see the woman from earlier stepping out of the cool mist, her breath catching slightly. You chose courage. You chose light. You are ready. How? Ellie paused, bewildered but full of belonging. Your journey was not in vain, seeker. But remember this, the shadows ebb and flow. They may linger in the corners of your mind, but they will not control you. You hold the reins. Ellie nodded, a newfound determination filling her. I won't forget what I've learned. And at that moment, something clicked. She felt a shift, a newfound sense of empowerment flowing through her veins. What comes next? She asked, more prepared than ever. Life, the woman replied, private triumph in her smile. The journey continues. Your choices shape your heart, create a tapestry of lived experiences. Don't fear the shadows, embrace their lessons. Fulfillment awaits you. As the forest around her began to dissolve into light, she could see possibilities unfurling, love waiting to blossom, moments to seize, friendships to nurture. Ellie took one last deep breath, mingling the fragrance of possibilities, of healing, of new beginnings. She stepped forward into the light. What lay ahead was uncertain, but it was hers to explore, and her heart brimmed with hope. This is the moment to act. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are sure to leave you breathless. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm, help put this captivating tale into the hands of more readers, and keep the excitement alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and wild theories about Ellie's journey. Your thoughts are just as important as the story, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.